Hello, good evening. I'm Rialina Chimani. I will be your presenter and I'm about to discuss the grammar sound and any. So what are the questions we can derive from it? So, when do we use some and when do we use any? How do we use some and how do we use any? So those are the questions that may come up that will be answered during our presentation. So let's begin. So as I've said, we're going to discuss about some and any. And of course, this presentation was done by yours truly. Some and any. So let's start with the word some. So how do we use the word some? So it is used to mean a little and a few. It can be used with countable and uncountable nouns. But before that, we're going to determine what is a noun. And a noun is a name of a person, place, things, or event. And it has different types. And some of it are what we call the countable and uncountable nouns. So when we say countable nouns, so these are nouns which can be counted. So the example of it are chairs, tables, pencils, and etc. The uncountable nouns are those nouns which cannot be counted. So the example of it are sugar, sun, water, and etc. Okay, so how do we use it? So when some is used with countable nouns, the word some means a few. So these are the examples. So the pictures, and then this one. Some plus apples, it will be a few apples. Some plus bananas, it will be a few bananas. And then, what if it is in uncountable nouns? So, when some is used with uncountable nouns, the word some means a little. So, these are the example. Some plus goat, it will be a little goat. Some plus traffic, it will be a little traffic. And then, some plus sun, it will be a little sun. So, when some is used with countable nouns, always remember that nouns should be plural. So, these are the examples. Some pencils. So, this one is correct and then some pencil is incorrect. Another example. Some chairs. This one is correct and then some chair is incorrect. And then, what if it is we use some with uncountable nouns? Always remember that noun should be singular. So, this is the example. These are the examples. Some water, correct. Some waters, incorrect. And then, some smoke, correct. Some smokes is incorrect. So, what are the uses of the word some or the grammar some? So, number one rule. Some is used in positive sentences or what we call the affirmative sentences. So these are the examples. Number one, I will buy some apples. And then another sentence, she picked some strawberries. So those sentences or these sentences are example of affirmative sentences. And then number two rule, some generally aren't used in questions, meaning to say it doesn't necessarily mean that some can be used in questions. But of course, there is an exemption. So why do I say that? Because of the example. You look at the example. Are there some pies on the plate? So instead of saying that are there some pies on the plate, you should say it in this way. Are there any pies on the plate? Because you are asking if there is any pies on the plate. As I've told you, there is an exemption to the rule. So, an exemption to the rule if you are offering, suggesting something to someone or asking, requesting for something by thinking that the answer is yes or hopes for such an answer. Hence, some can be used for questions. So, these are the example of that. Number one, would you buy me some tomatoes? This one is a request because you were asking if someone can buy you a tomatoes. And another example, would you like some more tea? This is an offering because you were offering someone if he or she wants more tea. And then the last rule, number three, some can be used with uncountable and plural countable nouns. So what are the examples? Number one, uncountable. He wants some coffee. And then plural countable, there are some flowers on the table. Okay, so aside from some, of course, we have the word any. So how do we use any? So it is used to mean no or zero, meaning to say it is nothing. It is also used with countable and uncountable nouns. So I already mentioned a while ago, what do we mean by countable and uncountable nouns? Okay, so when we use the word any in countable nouns, always remember that the noun should be in plural. So this would be the examples. Any notebooks, this one is correct, and then any notebook, this one is incorrect. And then any guavas, it is correct, and then any guava, it is incorrect. Okay, so when any is used with uncountable nouns, so always remember that the noun should be singular. Okay, so this would be the examples. Any rice, correct. Any rices, incorrect. Any water, correct. Any waters, incorrect. Okay, so how do we use the word any? Of course, there are also rules. Number 1, any is used in negative sentences. So, meaning to say there is a negation. And when it is a negation, you should see the word not. Okay, so example number 1. I don't have any pets. So, I don't have any pets, or the word don't is a contraction of the word do not. So, instead of saying I do not have any pets, you said I don't have any pets. Still, it is a negation or a negative sentence. And then another example, he doesn't have any details. So, again, doesn't, and then use the word any. Next, there is also an exception to the rule. And an exception is any can only be used in positive sentences if any is used with conjunctions such as if and whether. So we can use, or we can make the negative sentence into a positive sentence. How? Using the word if and whether. So you look at the example. If he calls you, please tell any of it. We use the conjunction if. And then the next one. Whether she likes it or not, she will add any of my friends in the program. So, instead, though we see the word not, still this is not a negation because not is part of the options whether she likes it or not. So, this one is also a positive sentence. Next, rule number 2. So, any is used in questions. So, these are the examples. Are you using any medicine? So, this is very literal. You were asking someone if he or she is using a medicine. And then, number 2 question, did you consult any doctor? Again, you are asking a person if he or she already consulted a doctor. And then, number 3 rule, any cannot be used at the beginning of the sentence. Why? Because instead of saying any food was eaten by them, you should say this way. No food was eaten by them. And then the last rule, any can be used with uncountable and plural countable nouns. So these are the examples. Plural countable, did you see any rats? And then uncountable, there isn't any water flowing in the sink. Okay, so to come up shortly, the difference between some and then any. So this one is the recap. So when we say some, so some can be used with uncountable and plural countable nouns. And then also any can be used with uncountable and plural countable nouns. And then some is generally used in positive sentences, while any is used in negative sentences. And then some is not generally used in questions, while any is used in questions. And then last one, some can be used anywhere in a sentence, while any can be used with uncountable and plural countable nouns. Okay, so I hope you understand. So let's do the activity. So number 1, do you want blank bread? So what do you think is the answer? So the answer will be some, because you were asking someone if he or she wants some more bread. And the next one, they don't want blank company. So this one, what do you think is the answer? It will be any, because you were asking if someone needs any company. And of course, there is a negation, or there is a contracted word which is don't or do not. And then number 3, are there blank notes on the table? So the answer will be some notes. So are there some notes on the table? Because you were asking if there is some notes on the table. Okay, so thank you for watching and listening. I'm Realine Chimani, your presenter. Thank you.